A copyright infringement is almost a moral good at this point. That's too deep for this podcast.
This podcast about Shopify and e-commerce, we're talking Shopify product updates.
Let's get back to how I'm disc pilled. I'm buying Blu-ray 4K Blu-rays.
We have to get to our Shopify updates.
Do we have to?
Yeah.
Because I'd rather talk about 4K Blu-rays. I try to watch streaming and my eyes just start tearing up and I can't see it because the bit rate is so low.
I give it an issue. My corneas get scratched because your discs are too sharp. Biannually, twice a year, they tell us, hey, here's what's new with Shopify. For the summer, Shopify drops 100 updates on here, and there's no way we're going through all 100. So I picked less than 10 for us to go over a few highlights and discuss the impact of, and to get some background on it. I even listened to an hour of a Twitter Spaces AMA, they're like Clubhouse alternative with Toby and a couple other Shopify execs. So I have a little bit of background info here. And yesterday on the way out, I said, how do you want to structure that episode? And you suggested pick your favorites and I will react to it.
And then you got to put up the video. It's reaction.
All right. So first one, we're going to open with native bundles. So this was a much wanted feature where that essentially replaces apps. So in the past, you'd say you get an app like frequently bought together. And let's say someone's looking at a t-shirt, you could say, hey, make it a complete set. Get the t-shirt, the pants, the socks, and add those together, save 10%. And you'd have to use an app for it, or the customer would have to add it to cart, and then you'd use Shopify script editor to do the discounting. Shopify script editor is going away. We need a solution here. Shopify is now offering native bundles. And essentially, like our previous options were apps, hacks, and workarounds. Now that we've got this native feature to do bundling, works exactly as one would hope and think, but there is one exception that I've seen people bring up on Twitter. The 100 variant limit, the dreaded 100 variant limit that's on products, applies to bundles as well, but all of them combined?
Let's roll this back. I have questions.
All right, hit me.
So what does this bundle app offer? I'm on the product page. I've gone in the back end of the bundle app on my store, and I've put together a bundle. We'll call it socks. Shirt, pants, and socks. So on the shirt product page, there will be a widget underneath the add to cart button. Yes, no?
The bundle presents as a product.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And they give you multiple options where multi-pack is like essentially a quantity break discount. Hey, you want to buy 3 of this.
But you have to set it up as a separate product in the store?
I'm going through the documentation now, and it like the screenshots of it, it looks exactly like a product page, where it's got a description, title, and then the standard product form, but then you're picking your options are associated to interchangeable products.
So the variants are actually
SKUs. Well, same deal. Actually, a variant's a SKU anyway in a product.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is in the area on the back end of the product where you normally would put in your variants, you're just putting in different products that already exist on the store as the pieces of the bundle. Yeah. I'm assuming.
Yes.
And that's a product page. So really what you would have to do is like on the shirt page, you'd have to put something that's like, get this as a bundle. And then they'd click on it and it would redirect them to the bundle product.
Yeah.
Well, okay. And then they'd add the bundle product to their cart and then they'd buy it and the bundle product would have whatever price it has on it. That would get around all my other questions because, we did this before. We did a lot of stuff with like free gift with purchase. Hoonigan did a lot of stuff like this. And, the problem with all of that was always like, there were many pieces in the process where, we actually can't automatically add products to people's carts. They would have to do it. That's an app. But then like we'd have to note like that, make sure the products X, Y, and Z are in the cart. So then if that's true, then we could edit the price and like, all this other crap.
And that was like a complex Shopify script.
Yeah, it was a huge pain in the ass. So the idea of just turning it into its own separate product helps get around a ton of that. And then now you're just running it. You're just working inside the basic Shopify system at that point.
And then it doesn't mess up. The other advantage to this is it doesn't mess up your inventory.
That's what I was going to say. I guess since it's connecting on the back end to like previously established products on your store, it's just incrementing the inventory there.
This is available on all plans.
Back to that 100 variant limit. So people don't know this. I don't know if you know this. Shopify has a limit of 100 variants on any product, which sounds like a lot. But when you think about it, say a shirt has 5 different sizes and then maybe like 2 fits where,
regular and tall.
And then, all right, so now we're at
10 SKUs.
Now we're at 10 SKUs. And then we add 10 colors. Oh, now we're at 100.
Yeah.
Like you're done. And you're done. You can't add any more sizes. You can't add any more colors. That's it. I don't know why we have this limit. It's a little silly.
There's like a thing you only whisper about. A rare selection of stores, a fraction of a percent of stores. Supposedly, the rumor is 250 variant limit.
What?
Like, if your name ends with Kardashian, maybe you can get access to this.
I'm sorry. Keep her anonymous. Kim K.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. My mistake. Hey, you know what I heard Toby say in the Twitter AMA today?
What did he say?
Constraints lead to creativity.
Oh, great.
I'm paraphrasing, but that was the message.
Yeah, that's why I only cook a meal. Every meal I make has to have like only three ingredients in it. And, that makes me a better cook.
I think if we're going apples to apples, you could use, why do you need 101 ingredients?
Yeah. It's 100 variants for the whole bundle. So if you have a 3-product bundle, each one of those products can only have 33 variants.
Yes. So that variant limit applied to bundles really compounds. I'm still grateful.
It's nice.
To have native bundles.
This 100 variant limit, I'm kind of wondering why we're still doing this. It's been 10 years. They've had it for 10 years. Like, can you upgrade the system once every 10 years? Maybe?
Another one, native subscriptions. So previously, you had to use a subscription app. And then over the last several years, they moved them all to, like, it has to work in this particular way with an API and the advantage in selling plans. And the advantage to that was the previous subscription apps were a little hacky in that they circumvented the Shopify checkout to work. And they no longer had to do that. Well, once they were there really wasn't much stopping Shopify from adding subscriptions to the front end themselves because they've done all the back end work for you. But for them, every app feature you add, that's more support, that's more documentation. That's a lot. And it starts to add up. That would be my guess as to why they've resisted until now. Now, there's simple subscription offerings with a free Shopify Subscriptions app. Toby tweeted about it. It was a reply to somebody, and he said, because whenever Shopify releases an app that works the same as existing apps, people are like, oh, I'd hate to be them. Oh, what's recharge must be terrified, that kind of thing. And he replied to one of those statements and said, well, our app is basic and utilitarian, but works well. This is meant as a floor. We hope that all apps will raise the ceiling by providing more and complex and exciting implementations. A good example of that, Shopify product reviews. We've had that forever, Shopify product reviews.
Yeah, people still use Yotpo.
Yeah. How many people actually use it? They use those paid apps, and it's because Shopify product reviews, it works, it's simple, fatal flaw, it doesn't send review request emails.
Yeah, that was my other question about the bundles app, about the bundles edition, is that what is bad about it? Like what?
Just that limit.
Just that, but can you do I guess with apps, maybe you could break the limit.
I would want to mess with it.
But I'm just saying, like, if they're like, we're doing the simple app, like, okay, well, that means that there's maybe some advanced level capabilities it doesn't have. I was like, okay, well, what are those?
Moving on from that, the AI announcements, that's what they led with in additions, if you check out the site.
Gotta make the stock go up. Say the buzzword of the month. Buzzwords.
No problemo.
There you go.
How about the blockchain?
The blockchain.
Shopify on the blockchain?
The NFTs. They were very into that until they weren't.
It's important. It's the future.
Unlike NFTs and blockchain, there's actual practical uses to AI. Yeah, it's I make it write all the emails I don't want to write.
Okay, fine, but
so they got Shopify Magic was included in here, which that we've seen, that's been around. It's not in every store, but you get like a sparkle icon that you click, and Shopify Magic. It's an implementation of ChatGPT right in that rich text editor. You can do like quick rewrites and of content, it's helpful. It's nice to have that built in there. But the fancy one is Shopify Sidekick. So do you remember this product they used to have, Shopify Kit?
I do. I remember we went to Unite and they were all talking up how great Kit was. Yeah. And how it was going to run your store for you.
Yep. And that was Michael Perry's baby. And Kit, they shut that down. The idea was there. The technology was not. Siri still not real bright, I guess, similar to Kit. But now with ChatGPT, these chatbots, the promise that they gave us 10 years ago, now they can live up to it.
George Lucas, the technology wasn't available at the time to do what they wanted. So this is Kit Special Edition.
Yeah, now you don't think about motion capture today, but Jar Jar Binks was the first motion capture performance.
But I'm not talking about episode 1. I'm talking about special editions. So what you're saying is in this kit, Greedo shot first.
Yes. With Shopify Sidekick, the idea is you could just talk to the Shopify admin, give it prompts, and then have it do things for you. The examples that they gave in a demo video, because no, I don't know that anyone's actually played with this yet, but its potential is like, you say, hey, I want to run this discount. This is the promotion I want to run. And it could potentially just set it up for you. Not just tell you how to do it, just go ahead and do it for you, which would be, it would cut out the middleman on some of these tasks. Where I see the value in it is analytics. I wish Google Analytics would do this too, where I always know what I want to get out of the data. I just don't know where to find it or how to do it necessarily. If I could tell it like, all right, could you just graph average order value, on the last 90 days and now break it down by acquisition channel. And if it could just come back and give me that chart, that would save me a ton of time and let me like actually get insights out of this thing without, spending as much time or Googling how to do it. And so I like the idea.
The words if and potentially got used a lot in that paragraph.
All right. So during that AMA, the big question they got was, when can I play with editions? I only asked one question. That was it. And Glenn Coates, who was on the call, was like, oh, that was, 500 people asked when they could get access to Shopify Sidekick. And I wrote down what he said. We're not in a place where we think it's being amazing consistently enough. It's not what it can do, it's how consistently it can do it.
So it doesn't work right yet.
That would be the subtext there.
Come on, man. You're the king of ChatGPT. You're using it constantly.
It's tough to get the same answer.
You're like, what do I have for, like, you're at the point where you're like, what do I eat for dinner? ChatGPT, tell me.
Just tell me what to wear.
Tell me what to wear. Like, you can't function without it now at this point. And how many times has that thing lied to you? Like, lied. Like, that is not real.
I have even simple stuff. I was like, I'll have it write me game walkthroughs. Sometimes it just makes the stuff up.
Yeah. So
if it doesn't know, it just makes it up.
Yeah. So this thing where you were like, all right, we'll graph this average order value over by channel. It's not going to give you that information. Come on, man.
Yeah. The problem is it is very much a black box in its thinking and approach. You ask it the question, it gives you a totally coherent response.
Yeah, it's a little puppy that has to give you the right answer. It can't. It has no internal grading of the quality of its answer. So it's just like, here you go. There's an answer.
These words are statistically likely to go well together. That's its answer.
That's all it is. It's smart Siri.
A chatbot that lives inside the admin of your store and assists you with things. At this point, totally plausible, but to what degree?
I saw the demo of it. I think they posted like a video on Twitter or somewhere.
Yeah, Toby posted a video.
Yeah, and my response to that video is just, come on, let me do it. Show it to me. Why can't you show it to me? What's the matter? Let me do it.
This is what I do when people tell me how easy something's going to be. Doc, it's so easy. This other store did it. You could do it. All right, if it's so easy, just show me. Show me how to do it. Just show me. And of course, then it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
I have no doubt that this thing will come to fruition. It'll just be a question of like how much of this functionality can it live up to? So I understand the issue. We'll see what happens. And the other thing that's been rolling out over time is improvements to the Shopify B2B, their wholesale experience, and limited or not right for various reasons. And it's finally getting to a point where it's really pretty solid because now the series of feature improvements they made, volume pricing, quick order lists, proper payment methods, credit card vaulting, which is nice. People can actually store their credit card in here. And that works with draft orders as well. And the volume pricing is cool. So essentially, you could do quantity breaks as part of that wholesale channel.
I know before that, there have been stores where we've had to create a completely separate wholesale store for someone, and that's how they achieved it. So that's not the way anymore. Now they're just going to they have their one store, and then they do what?
You add this wholesale channel, Shopify B2B, and then they log into a separate subdomain,
Okay.
And then it's a different experience.
But you're still maintaining one store?
And it's still one store. This is just a sales channel that's plugged into it.
For the wholesale version of the store.
They have a customer account.
As part of their account.
And they're logged in, and then they get their own pricing and quantity breaks, and it's got their credit card info saved. It's a pretty good experience. If you want, I want a no-nonsense B2B ordering experience. Years ago, when I worked in automotive dropshipping, when you had to place an order through a B2B channel, none of them were styled in any way. Yeah. And you had a few people who you had to fax an order to. All right, this new one that I have not I've not played with it. It is only in developer preview, so this is like real early. Don't expect to see this showing up anytime soon. But flex sections.
I don't understand what this is.
We're extending how you write sections in a theme, with the end goal being a true drag and drop page editor.
I don't understand what this is.
The claim is that this is going to add just like true drag and drop landing page builder effects to our current theme editor, which is close to that. But not quite. Like I can't, actively drag stuff around. In the example, an animated GIF example.
Wait, so if you have a section on your store and you put content into that section.
And we got some time before anybody has to really worry about this. The other thing they revealed in that AMA, they have not figured out a path for backwards compatibility. How do you make this work?
Well, then that makes it like a non-starter. Like, to be honest, like there's too much technical debt. They can't kick everyone on an old theme off Shopify.
Well, that's we end up with Online Store 3.0.
Yeah, Online Store 3.0. Good for us.
We made that up.
Because then we get to go to everyone and be like, ugh, you don't have a 3.0 theme. Guess you got to give us a bunch of money.
At this point, when people show up with a 1.0 theme, I'm like, look, it's over. You're throwing good money after bad with this. You got to upgrade to 2.0.
True.
Because even if you get this 1.0 theme where you want it, you're still behind just installing Dawn. One page checkout. I don't have a single experience with this beyond I've seen it in a couple stores, but none that were our clients. I want to play with one page checkout real bad. Should be rolling out. This says available all plans. They did a study. They claim improved conversion rates with this. And then with that, there's that checkout extensibility concept. And like one page checkout is a feature in this new checkout called checkout extensibility. There are other new things being added to it. They're expanding the API. So we can no longer edit the checkout. Things change, but they're giving apps more and more ways to plug in and hook into this checkout, including like in the past, if I wanted to run an address validator, which is if you ship enough orders, you save money and hassle if you have an address validator. That you'd have to be on Shopify Plus. I'd have to be able to edit the checkout. I got to drop a line of code in. It would mess with the checkout inputs and it would be able to do the validation. Now that's part of the API. They're like, look, yeah, you're losing access to these things when they end it. Checkout.liquid goes away. Script editor goes away. When those things leave, when those were announced as leaving, we didn't necessarily have replacements for every scenario. Mm-hmm. Now it looks like they're actively going through efforts to add paths through the API or the functionality themselves to replace all this stuff. Those were all my highlight updates that I liked.
What were the low light updates? What was the thing where they were like, we're making it slower?
No.
We're going to lose your orders.
Hey, Metafields, 4x faster. I don't know, 4x faster at what? I did not get that far.
Well, from not having Metafields.
There are 100 plus updates in there. Some of the others, draft orders, really, they expanded a lot of the features in that. Where like draft order had odd limitations that regular orders didn't. A lot of those have gone away. The Shopify admin, it's got a new look. It's got that like all gray Tim Burton color palette now.
It's so gray and flat. It's impossible to tell anything apart. I love it.
The fonts all got a little smaller.
Yeah, so small and gray.
For our app crowdfunder, we did Built for Shopify program, which is where they tell you, hey, here's how to make your app better and like fit in with Shopify admin UI. And the vast majority of those changes were bring it in line with the look of our admin. And we just wrap that up. And now they changed the admin. So I know where I'm on borrowed time until we're going to be required to change it.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, and they added a thing, apps called admin UI extensions, I think was the name of it. Like if you want to use an app, it's in your Shopify admin, but it's really, it's embedded. You're looking through the Shopify admin at this app.
Yeah, like you have your own like kind of thing that you've built that then the Shopify admin is pulling.
It's wrapped around. So the Shopify admin UI extensions are going to let you access apps through pop-ups. I'm on a product page. Now I don't have to leave the product page, go to apps, load the app. Instead, I could just, it can add itself and pop up as like a little window.
Well, that sounds nice.
What else?
And they've added built for Shopify for apps. And I would like to note that our apps are built for Shopify.
One is?
Well, the best one.
Yeah, the good one.
So
crowdfunder.
Our app is better than almost all the apps on Shopify, so you should buy it. Getting this badge was a huge pain in the ass. So we really need you guys to buy our app to justify all the hoops we had to jump through.
Yeah, that would feel great.
I beg of you.
Yeah. I'll quit talking about crowdfunding after that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm sure there's other stuff I'm missing, but those were the big ones. And not just not just the stuff that was interesting to me. This was what I saw a lot of people talking about as like, this is the exciting stuff. And then you could break it down into like, well, there's a lot of these updates are really geared more toward developers. Shopify really invested really big on their developer community. And so there's a lot of that we touched on a little bit. Hey, you know about your shop store on the Shop app?
Oh, I often use Shop Cash on the Shop store with my Shop app to shop for things.
Oh, by the way, Crowdfunder, that was considered a generic name.
Yeah, our app Crowdfunder, its name was too generic because, you can't just call things generic words because it's not fair.
It's confusing.
It's confusing and not fair to just like claim that piece of land that's a generic word that everyone would use in everyday activity. Anyway, I was using Shopcast to shop on my Shop app using Shopee, made by Shopify, and that's all fine.
There's Shop Credit.
Yeah, Shop Credit and Shop Cash, Shop app to shop.
You can now optimize your shop store for millions of mobile shoppers.
Your shop store, as opposed to the other stores.
Your Shopify online store is different than your shop store.
Than your shop.
That's your listing inside the Shop app. I'm not making any of this up.
Those are called Shoppies.
You call those Shoppies?
Those are Shoppies. Your Shopee in the Shop app.
That's already, see, now you're into like...
That links to your shop store?
That's a unique branded name, Shopee. So that's out. Let's go back to Shop.
You're right. It's Shop.
But no, that's it. Like if you go in, I think it's settings branding. They give you all these options. And apps could pull those in through the branding API, which is nice. So they can like kind of auto-configure themselves. But I think that's primarily for the Shop app to be able to pull this stuff in and give you a nice listing. And increasingly, people do use the Shop app. And it's free to list your store in there. So you may as well, just another point of discoverability as more and more people Google the word shop.
I'm sure it'll just, if you need more information on this, just Google the word shop. Clearly, that'll come up right away.
Man, it's just as fun and creative as the Android web browser, which is called Browser.
Not anymore.
No, they changed it?
Oh, no, it's been Chrome for a long time.
Oh, my mistake.
But no, back in the day, the Android web browser was called Browser.
Yeah, that was always fun to Google. There's so many updates in here. I'm not doing any more. You check it out. Go to shopify.com/editions, the summer 23 update. It's a really cool presentation, and it's kind of fun if you hit view source on it. There was a scavenger hunt in there that would give you a coupon code for the Shopify supply store. It's such a dork. I love stuff like that. Like last year, I think it was last year, they had a thing where like there was a hidden button that would put it into it looked like terminal.
So you're saying I would buy my Shopify supplies at Shopify Supply?
Yes, you would.
Is that their shop store?
It's actually, that's the TLD. It's Shopify.supply.
How is that a TLD?
Yeah, everything's a TLD now.
Ugh.
I'm sure .podcast is, as we look to wrap up this .podcast.
I think .website is a TLD.
I'm sure it is.
And I would get that one just ironically.
I'm not gonna. You're not baiting me into doing shtick on TLDs anymore.
Oh, I'm here. I could do a tight 15 on TLDs.
Wow, that's too much. That's too much domain name content for me. If you have your own TLD jokes or comedy sets to share with us, please join us in our Facebook group, the Unofficial Shopify Podcast Insiders. We would be happy to hear it. Specifically, make sure you tag Paul in your domain name jokes.
No, never contact me. Never contact me. I don't like leaving my house. Leave me alone.
All of that's true. Thank you for listening. Keep selling. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. 5 stars.